Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo declared on the sidelines of the Warsaw Ministerial Summit that the world cannot achieve peace and security in the Middle East without confronting Iran. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini stressed that while the European Union maintains different views from the United States on the implementation of the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran, it does have views on other issues that coincide with the United States. The IDF's intelligence branch has published its annual assessment for 2019, in which it warns of possible conflagrations on Israel's southern and northern frontiers, including against the Islamist organizations in the Gaza Strip and Iranian-backed forces in Israel's northern neighbors. United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo declared that the world cannot achieve peace and security in the Middle East without confronting Iran. On the sidelines of the Warsaw Ministerial Summit, aimed at promoting a future of peace and security in the Middle East, while standing beside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the American top diplomat asserted that pushing the Islamic Republic back is vital for regional stability and security.
In a room of some 60 foreign ministers and representatives of dozens of governments, an Israeli Prime Minister and the foreign ministers of leading Arab countries stood together and spoke with unusual force, clarity, and unity against the common threat of the Iranian regime. I think this marks a change, an important understanding of what threatens our future, what we have to do to secure it, and the possibilities of cooperation that extend beyond security to every realm of life for the peoples of the Middle East.
The international summit, which Prime Minister Netanyahu declared to be a major turning point in history, unites all-time foes in confronting the dangerous Ayatollah regime in Tehran, which both Israel and Arab states view as a threat to the future of the region.
You can't achieve peace and stability in the Middle East without confronting Iran. It's just not possible. They're a malign influence in Lebanon, in Yemen, in Syria, in Iraq. The three H's, the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. These are real threats. There are others as well, but you can't get peace in the Middle East without pushing back against Iran.
Among other meetings that were held on the sidelines of the Warsaw Summit, the Israeli Prime Minister, who also serves as Jerusalem's foreign minister, met with his counterpart from Oman following the recent normalization of relations with the Jewish state. Right from the start of the meeting, Netanyahu reiterated Israel's appreciation of Oman's Sultan Qaboos, who sought to lead by example for the sake of regional peace and prosperity.
It's a delight to see you again. I have to tell you that the courageous decision of Sultan Qaboos to invite me to Oman is changing the world. It's pointing the way for many others to do what you said. Not to be stuck in the past, but to seize the future. And that many are following this lead, and may I say, including in this conference. And I want to thank you for this forward-looking, positive policy that can lead to peace and prosperity for all. So I want to thank you on behalf of the people of Israel, and I allow myself to say, on behalf of many people in the Middle East.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's good to see you.
The Omani foreign minister, on his part, underscored the importance of pursuing a new vision for the future, stressing that the people of the Middle East have suffered enough because of obstinate policies that refuse to leave the past behind.
Indeed, this is an important new visions for the future. People in the Middle East have suffered a lot because they are stuck to the past. Now we say this is a new era for the future and for prosperous for every nation.
During the Warsaw Summit opening event, which was held last night, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence asserted in an address to the attending foreign dignitaries that the conference indicated a clear beginning of a new era in which leaders from Israel and Arab states have agreed to break bread together and unite in confronting the challenges that threaten their common interest of regional stability. Now, in other news, the United States has reportedly resumed a secret operation that aims to destroy the Islamic Republic's missile program. The US daily New York Times reported this morning that a far-reaching effort to destroy Iran's missile capabilities, which began under President George W. Bush and was later suspended by the Obama administration, has once again been resumed in accordance to the directives of US President Donald Trump. The report states that while US officials could not measure the effectiveness of the American sabotage operation, the Islamic Republic has a markedly high failure rate of 67% of orbital launches compared to a global rate of just 5%. The report further pointed to Iran's failures since the start of the year, in which the Islamic Republic attempted to launch 2 domestic-made satellites into orbit. According to the report, the secret American operation may have been responsible for the Iranian failure. While a Pentagon official refused to confirm the report, a source told TV7 that the United States is actively working to thwart all threats that originate from the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now to the Belgian capital, Brussels, where EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini stressed that while the European Union maintains different views from the US on the implementation of the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran, it does have views on other issues that coincide with the United States. The top EU diplomat underscored, ahead of attending a meeting of NATO defense ministers, that the EU and the US views on the Islamic Republic's missile program, Syria, and Yemen are aligned.
We have different views on the implementation of the nuclear deal with Iran, but we have views that on other issues coincide. I still believe that we have the same views on Syria and the need for a political solution to the war. I think we have similar views on the missile program of Iran and on the need to move forward for peace in Yemen.
Mogherini refused to respond to a reporter's question on the matter of the Warsaw Summit on Middle East, peace and security, and when the reporter persisted, she immediately left. Now back to Israel, where the IDF intelligence branch has published its annual assessment for 2019. Among others, the intelligence assessment cited the increased likelihood of a military conflagration that may erupt in the Gaza Strip, an assessment that reportedly has prompted IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi to prioritize the IDF's readiness for such a development. According to Israeli intelligence officials, this year will be volatile in view of the high likelihood that Hamas will carry out offensive actions against IDF troops. The officials believe that the scope will be limited should a conflagration materialize, but it is still liable to lead to a round of escalated violence in the Gaza Strip. In addition to a possible escalation with the Islamist organizations in Gaza, the Israeli intelligence assessment also reviewed the potential for a military conflagration in Syria and Lebanon, while pointing to the various contributing factors, particularly Iran's activity in the region. That said, the IDF intelligence branch believes that the American pressure on Iran has been most significant, and its substantial ramifications can already be seen on the ground. Contrary to the situation on the Gaza frontier, Israeli intelligence officials have been reluctant to anticipate whether the latest developments on the country's northern frontier with Syria and Lebanon could result in a potential popular uprising in Iran, but it believes that the Iranian civic discourse is changing. Thank you for joining us. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Yair Pinto. Have a good evening, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.